Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down the essentials of professional footwear. Whether you're stepping into a brand new office environment, gearing up for some big interviews, or really just looking to build a wardrobe that actually works for you, we're going to give you the practical tools to navigate those dress codes confidently and, most importantly, comfortably. We are going to completely strip away all that intimidating fashion jargon, and we'll look at shoes for what they truly are: functional tools designed to support you. All right, let's kick things off with our golden rule. It's a pretty simple truth, but honestly, it's one we forget all the time when we're trying to make a good impression. Your feet have to carry you for the rest of your life. A great look is worth a lot, but it is never worth your health. Look, a bad, comfortable shoe worn for just one evening, that won't hurt you in the long run. But that exact same bad shoe worn day after day, year after year, that will absolutely cause permanent damage. So throughout our time together today, keep this foundational principle in the back of your mind. Style and health can usually go together, but when they clash, health always outranks fashion. Here's a quick look at our agenda for today. 1. Shoe anatomy and construction. 2. Decoding professional shoe styles. 3. The surprising history of heels. 4. Foot health and safety first. And 5. Shoe care and maintenance.
Let's jump right in. Section 1, shoe anatomy and construction.
Okay, let's essentially build a shoe from the bottom up, kind of like pouring the foundation for a house. We start with the outsole, which is simply that bottom layer that actually makes contact with the ground. Right above that is the midsole. This is your shock absorption layer. In really well-made leather shoes, this area is actually often packed with cork. And what's cool is that it compresses and molds to the unique shape of your foot over time. Then we have the insole, the layer your foot rests directly on. And finally, the upper, which is the entire top part of the shoe that holds your foot securely in place. Now, we can actually break that upper down into two distinct parts: the vamp and the quarters. The vamp is the front section, the part covering your toes and the top of your foot. It's basically where the shoe flexes as you walk. The quarters are the side and back panels that wrap right around your heel. Keep these two terms in your back pocket, because exactly how those quarters attach to the vamp, that is the secret to decoding men's dress shoe styles in just a few minutes. So how do we put these pieces together so they actually last? Well, shoemakers use what's called a good welt. This is a brilliant 19th century invention. This construction method involves taking a strip of leather, rubber, or plastic, which we call the welt, and stitching it along the perimeter of the shoe. It stitches the upper to the insole, and then the outsole is stitched directly to that welt. Because it's fully stitched and not just glued, a cobbler can actually remove a worn-out bottom and stitch on a brand new sole, over and over again for decades. It's a real investment that pays for itself over a lifetime. Contrast that welted method with cemented construction. In this method, the sole is simply glued right directly to the upper. While this absolutely makes the shoes lighter and much cheaper up front, it comes with a pretty major downside. Once that glued sole wears through to the bottom, the shoe usually can't be repaired at all. It just has to be thrown away in a landfill.
Section 2, decoding professional shoe styles.
First up, we have the Oxford shoe. Remember those terms we talked about, the vamp and the quarters? Well, on an Oxford, the quarters, those side panels are stitched under the vamp. This creates what we call closed lacing. It makes a sleek, neat, closed V shape right where the laces tie. So for your most formal settings, like a major job interview or stepping into a courtroom, a black Oxford is your ultimate go-to shoe. It's clean, it's streamlined, and it's highly professional. The derby, on the other hand, operates a bit differently. Here, the quarters are stitched on top of the vamp. This creates open lacing, giving you two open flaps where the eyelets sit. Now, the derby is slightly less formal than the Oxford, but because of those open flaps, it's so much more adjustable. If you happen to have a wider foot or maybe a higher instep, the derby is going to be significantly more forgiving and way more comfortable for all-day wear. Okay, let's look at a taxonomy of women's heel shapes. Now, when it comes to foot health, stability is literally everything. The stiletto is thin, tall, and very dramatic, but it concentrates all of your body weight onto a tiny point, giving you the absolute lowest stability. Next is the kitten heel. It's slim but short, offering a much more office-friendly lift. Then we have the block heel, which is wide and squared off, providing excellent stability. And finally, the wedge, which offers a completely continuous sole from back to front. The big takeaway here, as the heel gets wider and more continuous, your weight distribution, your stability, and your long-term comfort increase dramatically. Section 3, the surprising history of heels.
Get this, starting all the way back in the 10th century, high heels were actually invented for Persian cavalrymen. I know, right? The heel was originally designed as riding gear, specifically to lock a soldier's foot firmly into a horseback stirrup so they could stand up securely and shoot arrows. Over the centuries, European aristocrats adopted the heel as a status symbol, basically to show off that they were wealthy enough to ride horses and didn't have to trudge through the mud. It was actually only in the modern era that the tall, thin heel became strictly associated with women's wear. So the crucial point here is that fashion rules are not laws of nature, right? They are totally invented by culture, and they are constantly changing. But history also shows us the much darker side of those cultural fashion rules. This right here is a 19th century lotus shoe. It's a tiny, highly embroidered silk artifact from the era of foot binding. This shoe represents the extreme, often truly agonizing lengths people have historically gone to just to signal status or adhere to a localized beauty standard. It serves as a really stark historical reminder for all of us today. We must never, ever prioritize aesthetics or cultural pressure over the physical, structural well-being of our own bodies.
Which brings us to Section 4, Foot Health and Safety First. A healthy professional shoe, whether that's a comfortable flat, a supportive block heel, or a classic Oxford, absolutely must have a toe box wide enough for your foot. The toe box is exactly what it sounds like. It's the chamber at the front of the shoe where your toes live. In a properly fitting, healthy shoe, your toes have ample room to naturally splay out, wiggle, and just lay completely flat against the sole as you walk. Conversely, when your toes are crushed into narrow, aggressively pointed shoes, your foot's natural anatomy is literally forced out of alignment. Look, doing this for an hour at a special event, that's one thing, but day after day in a workplace, the constant pressure from that narrow point can lead to permanent, painful deformities like bunions, shortened calf muscles, and even chronic lower back pain. So let's quickly summarize your foot health essentials. Always prioritize a wide toe box. If you do wear heels, choose a modest height to prevent tipping your entire body's center of gravity forward. Look for really good arch support. Here's a great pro tip for you. Buy your shoes late in the afternoon or evening when your feet are naturally a bit swollen. That ensures a much truer fit. And finally, please remember that your safety and dignity in the workplace are paramount. Absolutely no employer's aesthetic preference outranks your physical health. Section 5, Shoe Care and Maintenance. Okay, you can easily make a good pair of shoes last for years, sometimes even decades, by just following a few simple steps. First up is rotation. Try never to wear the exact same leather shoe 2 days in a row. They really need a full day to dry out from the natural moisture of your feet. Second, use shoe trees. Inserting unvarnished cedar trees absorbs that moisture and holds the leather shape perfectly so it doesn't crease and collapse on itself. Third, be sure to polish and condition the leather regularly to keep it from drying out and cracking. And finally, as we learned a bit earlier, take your welted shoes to a local cobbler to get them resoled the very moment the bottoms start to wear thin. As you step forward and prepare to enter your new professional environment, I want to leave you with a thought. Take a look at the shoes you're considering and ask yourself, are you building a wardrobe that supports you from the ground up for the rest of your life? The right footwear isn't just about looking the part. It will actually empower you to walk comfortably, safely, and confidently into whatever your future holds. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. Take really good care of those feet, and I will see you next time.